Thursday, just after 58 years of that terrific, historic 1965 war, where in this Kalaikunda, Flight Lieutenant Alfred Cooke, he did a very close to the ground, the historical dogfight which took place here in the same base. And as you can see, that one hawk is coming, the similar type of dogfight they'll try to show today after 58 years. You can see that this was the base in which Flight Lieutenant Alfred Cooke, and he is actually watching it the way he did it in 1965, the similar type of condition they are trying to make out here to give him the remembrance 58 years back, which they did. As you can see, the flying past is on, and this is how they are celebrating Air Force Day, saluting Flight Lieutenant Alfred Cooke. What was the feel today, and if you could just say, what was the momentous day that day?
I'm not a hero, I'm just an ordinary guy. I was doing my job.
But the biggest dog fight, which is like the close.
That's right. That's what they tell me now. That was the biggest dog fight in Indian history, and I took on 4 aircraft virtually by myself.
What is the most memorable moment?
Coming back alive.
Coming back?
Coming back alive.
And sir, if you could say that after so long years you came back to Kalaikunda, how does it really feel?
I can't describe it. I've got tears. I choke up.
So, he's very emotional, as he has also written a letter to Kalaikunda that his ashes will be buried here. It's an emotional moment for him as he shares his experience that time. So the purpose of Flight Lieutenant Alfred Cooke coming here, and your feelings and how it's inspiring for the young flying officers.
Yes, it's indeed a rare privilege for Air Force Station Kalaikunda to have such a distinguished ace visiting our station after almost 50 years. I still remember 7th September as a historian and as a part of the organization, what epic battle it was, wherein he's popularly called as, and rightly so, as the savior of Kalaikunda. And today's visit is a historic in that sense that he's visiting the same place after almost 50 years, and it's a very emotional time for him as well as for Air Force Station Kalaikunda to have him here, and it will help the generations which are being trained here of the future fighter pilots as to how they can learn from such a visionary leader, an ace pilot who was responsible for shooting down so many of our adversaries' aircraft in 1965.
Yeah, probably the lowest, the historical dog fight. No, you were obviously then very young.
Yes.
If you could remember that day or something when you heard that.
Yes, I was not even born, ma'am, that day, of course. So yes. When it happened in 1968, in 65, I was born in 1970, so it's a long time. However, whatever I have read and heard, to fly those heights, it really requires courage. It requires a heart which is full of confidence, full of ability, which comes with years and years of practice, hard work, dedication. I can tell you that much. So it's not easy to fly at treetops.
It's an emotional moment for you all also.
For Kalaikunda, definitely. And as you can see, Flight Lieutenant Alfred Cooke is all in tears. His heart is with goosebumps, and he's able to express not much because of the sentiments associated. Thank you very much.
I took on the first 3 together, and I sent my number 2 to go for the guy on top. But in the end, I had to take care of him as well. But I had no ammunition left for him.
Yes. And it was the second, I think, attack that the Pakis did.
The second attack. The first time they got us completely, as I say, with our pants down. We weren't prepared.
Then you were having breakfast, and they were asked to come back. The pigeons come back.
No. I didn't have breakfast.
Okay.
I did the first sortie, I did the second sortie. During the second sortie, the breakfast truck came, and he went, and nobody saved any breakfast for me. So I was really hungry after doing 2 1-hour plus sorties. I had only a cup of chai in the morning. So I said, what happened? He said, oh, we forgot to keep any breakfast for you. So I was really hungry. And in the meantime, another scramble had come because my job was air defense. So my aircraft was being refueled. I saw one of the airmen with a cup of chai in his hand. He's half drunk, and I grabbed it. I said, give me a thing, juda or no juda, I'll drink it. And another young airman had some biscuits. So I said, come here. I picked a couple of biscuits and I ate them very quickly, jumped into the cockpit, and that's when I had the third sortie.
And you saw it coming, and you could see the grass, trees also when you were just firing. It was so close to the ground.
Well, you see the trees on the other side there. He was below that tree level. I didn't know that I was so low. I just had my gun sight on and my wingtip was actually hitting the grass on the scrub. I didn't know. And when he exploded, I couldn't help but fly through the fireball. And I felt this thud, pulled away, and I looked up to the right and I knew his buddy was coming for me, so I engaged him as well.
Yeah.
And that fight was quite a long one because he was good. He'd get behind me and I'd pull up to get away from his line of fire. Now the Sabre, good aircraft, but it didn't have as much power as we had. We had 5,900 pounds of thrust, whereas I had 10,000 pounds of thrust. So I could hold the aircraft up there. I could see this guy trying to go up there, and his aircraft would start stalling, and he'd have to turn down towards the ground and build up his speed. When he'd do that, I'd follow him, and he'd pull out very sharply just above the ground, hoping that with my extra speed I would go into the ground. This happened quite some time. And I knew exactly what he was doing. So I got behind him and I started firing at him, and I was hitting him, but nothing much was happening. You see dents being happened on his aircraft and a couple of panels being hit and started streaming some fuel because this never came out before. My commanding officer and the armaments officer, they failed to have my aircraft configured properly for war.
Oh.
Yep.
So.
Now, the Hunter you see out there got 4 cannons. Each of those cannons holds 125 rounds. The first 25 rounds were high explosive, and the balance were practice ball ammunition that we use on the firing range. So the first guy who got it, he was burst into smithereens. And the second guy was hitting him. It was like throwing a cricket ball at it. And hitting him and bouncing off. Damaged a few panels, but he went away streaming smoke. And when I was firing at him, I was so close to him. I said, if I don't stop firing, I'm going to collide with him. So I broke away because another guy is coming at me. So he turned off and ran off to Pakistan. Apparently, according to the Pakistanis, he's supposed to have crash landed out there.
So you wanted your ashes to be here, that
when I died, yes, eventually, yes. Half of them here in Kalaikunda, and half of my squadron number 14, which are based in Ambala. Yeah.
So you are the savior of Kalaikunda.
I don't know, I just did my job. It's nice for them to say that.
Though it was a feel when you saw that you were 1:3 and you just get them.
Well, I had 1:3. I knew they were coming at me one at a time. But the Pakistanis, they gave me the ultimate compliment. They thought that they would be attacked by 9 hunters. It was just basically me.
It was great.
So I said, thank you very much. That's a nice thing to say, but it was just me. But I was a very aggressive and vigorous pilot.
That we know. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
What do you see after so long? What changes do you see as far as the Air Force sector is concerned? And how do you feel about it?
Well,
Has India changed, moved forward?
I feel very confident because I think the Air Force is in good hands. Also, I think the nation is in good hands with Modi ji. When I was around, we had prime ministers and defense ministers who vacillated too much, especially from the old days when I was around, 1961, 1962, they started off this nonsense of Hindi Chini bhai bhai, and they nearly knocked us out. And they did knock us out in 1962. One of my dear friends, who was my classmate, he got killed on the Nifa border, which is now Arunachal Pradesh. He and his whole platoon were wiped out. And I felt very, very angry about that. You got good leaders now who, the Chinese are there, we're confronting them, and they're backing down. And each one of you, you've got to look after the country. This is a beautiful country. Look after it, treat it as your own. And don't treat the Air Force like it's a flying club that you can come and learn to fly and then go off and join something. This is your life. You're willing to sort of give your all, give your life if need be, to defend your country. That's all I can say. Because that's how I felt.